Did you hear about the cat who ate a ball of yarn? She had mittens. Today, I'm going to recap a 2011 action sport film called Never Back Down 2, The Beatdown. The movie begins with various MMA matches taking place. In the locker rooms, there are 3 young guys waiting for their turn to fight. A 4th guy arrives, and there is some tension among the guys. A man calls the name Stokes, and one of the 4 guys, Mike, answers as it is his turn. The scene then shifts, and we are sequentially introduced to our 4 fighters. First up, Mike Stokes gets dropped off at college by his dad, whom he doesn't get along with for some reason. He meets his roommate Kurt, who seems like a decent guy. Next, we get introduced to Zack, who is a boxer. As he is training, his trainer talks about an upcoming fight, but that they've arranged a sub for him. But Zack's trainer thinks it's a bad idea, because they don't know anything about this Ortega. But Zack is confident and agrees. Next, there is Tim, who works odd jobs and goes to college, while his mom struggles to pay the bills after his dad died. Finally, we meet Justin Epstein, who is a comic book store clerk and a geek. A girl comes in to trade off some comic books, and he asks her out, but she tells him that it is never going to happen. Later, Mike is looking at the college website, which has been hacked by someone, to show a countdown for something known as the Beatdown. Kurt wants him to go out with him and enjoy being a college freshman, but Mike resists. Kurt convinces him to tell him what's up, and Mike agrees, swearing Kurt to secrecy. We then see them going to a typical college party, where there is dancing, drinking, and sex. There, Kurt challenges Mike to pick up a girl, whom Mike immediately gets infatuated with. He goes to ask her out, but she tells him that she already has a boyfriend. The next scene shows us Zack in a boxing match against Ortega and getting badly beaten up. His one eye is swollen shut, and he gets knocked out on his back. We then go to Justin, who is walking home one night and spots 2 people training. He continues walking, but is attacked by some bullies who seem out to get him for some reason. He tries to fight back, but is outnumbered. The bullies manage to beat him up, but he makes a run for it. He runs to the guys he saw earlier, one of whom is Tim. The other is an older black guy, and the 2 of them scare off Justin's bullies. One day, Mike is asked to go see the resident advisor, Max Cooperman. Mike is a wrestler, and Max has called him to talk, because he wants fighters for his illegal MMA tournament, the Beatdown. It will happen in 100 days, and the winner will get 10 grand. Mike says he'll think about it. In the next scene, Zack's doctor tells him that the injuries he's received to his head have affected the retina of his left eye, and he can't continue his career as a boxer, otherwise he will go blind. Zack is extremely distraught over this news. As he walks out of the doctor's room, he passes the receptionist and overhears about the beatdown. The scene changes to Tim, who returns home to see that his siblings are alone at home and watching some inappropriate music videos on TV. He asks them where their mom is and goes to visit her at a strip club. It turns out that she has taken a waitressing job there, and when Tim tries to protest, she tells him to go home. Next, during gym, Mike is wrestling with a guy, but gets taunted about his dad leaving his mother for another guy. This pisses him off, and he starts beating up the dude. Others break up the fight, but in his anger, Mike punches the coach and gets kicked out of the gym. Mike and Zack cross paths outside Max's dorm. They knock on the door and tell Max that they want to take part. Max asks Zack how he found him, and he tells him that he found him through the comments in the videos, as Max is semi-famous. Max asks them if they have any experience with MMA, and gets to know about Zack's boxing and Mike's wrestling. He then asks them to show him some moves. He tells them to stop, saying that they both have passion, but they need a well-seasoned veteran to teach them. He points them in the direction of Case Walker, saying that if he takes them on, a day with him is like a month with anyone else. The 2 of them go pay Case a visit. Case is very buff and obviously very experienced. We also see Tim training in the background, and Justin has also been taken under Case's wing. When Mike introduces himself and Zack, Case asks them why he should train them. They tell him that they want to take part in the beatdown, and Max told them about him. Case gets annoyed and calls Max a Dana White wannabe. He tells them to tell Max that next time he sends bitches his way, there will be trouble. Zack begins to walk away, but Mike stands his ground, saying that he's not a bitch. Case gives them a thorough once-over and says that he can see they have heart. He also figures out that Mike is a wrestler and Zack is a boxer. He tells them he will train them, and in return, needs them to pay him in blood, sweat, and money. He asked him to do some sprawls and kicks with Zack and gives Mike a special task. He tapes a piece of paper on a string and demonstrates a punching technique with which he makes a hole in the center of the paper. He tells Mike to keep doing it until he gets the technique. There is then a montage of Tim and Zack training, while Case trains Justin. In the background, Mike continuously fails to make a hole in the paper. Some hours later, Case tells him to go home and return tomorrow. We see the guys continuously practice in one way or the other. Justin reads up during his job, and Tim also teaches his younger siblings. Mike walks around campus trying to get the punch technique right and gets funny looks from the girl he tried to hit on during the party. The four guys keep up their training. One day, they're waiting for Case to join them, when some friction causes a tension among the group. Zack insults Justin's mother, which Case overhears. He calls out to Justin for letting Zack insult his mother and tells him to show him a move called the Flounder 3. The other guys wonder what that is when suddenly Justin picks up Zack and throws him to the ground. The guys break up Zack and Justin as Max arrives. He goes to see Case. He proposes that Case fight people at the bar and create hype for the upcoming tournament. Case, who needs money, agrees. That night, the four guys watch Case beat guy after guy who need to make it through a minute to get $100, but Case doesn't let them. Zack's girlfriend arrives, who is the same girl from the party. She asks Mike how he's doing after his dad left his mom for another dude, and the other guys snicker. Angered, Mike goes to fight Case. Case tells him not to and gets him in a hold, telling him to tap, otherwise he'll break his arm, but Mike doesn't listen. The next day, two cops arrive at Case's place and figure that he's a convict. They tell him to vacate the area. When the guys arrive, Case tells them to leave as there won't be any more coaching. Justin shows up and says he's decided to join the tournament. Tim gets an idea and finds an empty building for them to train in. Zack tells them to start prepping and goes to get some equipment from his previous gym. They call Case to the location as Max unrolls a sign saying Case Walker's Combat Club. Case walks in and is very impressed, and soon they begin training. One day, the guys show up for training and see Case fighting with Lyoto Machida. Case was at the top of the MMA game 6 years ago, but he disappeared. Tim says he spent 2 years in prison and got out on probation. Later, the guys are discussing the possible reasons for Case's imprisonment, but Mike and Justin butt heads. Case arrives and tells them to fight in the cage. They do, and Justin manages to get Mike into a hold. Mike doesn't tap and passes out. Later, Eve, Zack's girlfriend, comes to check up on Mike. We then see that while training, Case asks Zack what's wrong with his eye, and Zack tells him. Case doesn't stop training him, saying that it's his decision to fight and live with the consequences. In another scene, Case trains Mike and advises him to control his anger, to control a fight. Some time passes as the guys continue to train, and as Zack starts getting more attention from girls, he breaks it off with Eve and decides to quit the beatdown. Justin, on the other hand, goes to visit the guys who beat him up and gets his revenge on them by going completely berserk. Afterwards, covered in blood, he goes to Case to thank him, but Case tells him to leave because he doesn't want to be in trouble with the police. Meanwhile, Mike and Eve finally get together. As Max and his team begin to set up the stage for the tournament, he goes to visit Case, who tells him that Zack dropped out. He and Max begin talking, and we get to know how Case followed in his father's footsteps to become a fighter, but after his family died in the Katrina flood, he lost himself. He got into a fight at a club and got arrested. Max tells him that he believes his parents are always watching him. As Max gets into his car to leave, 2 cop cars turn up and search Case's trailer. They plant a gun and begin to arrest him, but Case fights back and beats all the cops. Max records everything and gets Case to a police station. There, he, Tim, Mike, and Zack wait as the lawyer comes to tell them that the gun has prints of a Justin Epstein, meaning that Justin was the one who got Case in trouble. They decide to go to the breakdown and kick Justin's ass. The tournament finally begins as Max takes the spotlight. One by one, the fights begin, with all 4 of our characters winning all of their matches, including Zack, who decided to jump back in to get back at Justin. Tim beats his opponent in the quickest fight ever and gets a lot of praise. Backstage, Justin keeps trying to rile Mike up, but he keeps his cool. The fights continue until Mike and Zack reach the semifinals. They go on backing each other up, their focus on getting to Justin. Mike defeats Zack with an anaconda choke, while Justin injures Tim's knee in the toilet with a metal bar, thus eliminating him from the tournament. Mike engages Justin in a grueling match until he wins by breaking Justin's right shoulder via an omoplata submission hold. Justin attempts to retaliate by jumping Mike from behind, but Mike counters with a Superman punch to the face. As Mike and his girlfriend Eve celebrate his win, he finally calls his father and asks him out to dinner because they have a lot to talk about. Case gets a call from Big John McCarthy and confirms his return to MMA. If you enjoyed this video, don't be shy to hit the like button, and if you disliked it, hit the dislike button twice, just to be sure. It would be best if you watched the whole movie. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe for more videos like this.